Thousands of years before European settlers arrived, numerous civilizations flourished across the land that would become the United States. The Maya and Aztec cities in the southwestern part of the continent, along with cultures from the plains, the southeast, and the north, had rich traditions, religious beliefs, and advanced governance systems. However, when Europeans first set foot on these lands, the continent underwent a dramatic transformation. The colonial era. At the end of the 15th century, Christopher Columbus discovered the New World, and from that moment on, European powers began colonizing the Americas. The Spanish were the first to settle in the southwestern part of the continent, founding numerous settlements that would later form the basis of what would become Mexico and other Latin American countries. The French established colonies in what is now Canada and central parts of the United States, while the English began to settle along the eastern seaboard of North America. The first permanent English colony was founded in 1607 with the establishment of Jamestown in Virginia. This marked the beginning of a long and complex process of colonization that led to the foundation of what would eventually become the United States. Over the next several decades, English settlers founded colonies in places such as Massachusetts, Maryland, and Rhode Island, and the colonial population grew rapidly. The War for Independence. By the 18th century, the English colonies on the east coast of North America had grown increasingly independent. However, tensions between the colonists and the British Crown over taxes, governance, and personal freedoms began to intensify. The British passed laws such as the Stamp Act of 1765, which taxed colonial paper goods, and other regulations that infringed on colonial rights. These growing tensions led to the outbreak of the American Revolutionary War in 1775 after the battles of Lexington and Concord. The colonists, led by figures such as George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin, convened the Continental Congress and declared their independence on July 4, 1776, with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. After years of bloody fighting, the war ended in 1783 with the signing of the Treaty of Paris, which recognized the independence of the United States. The Constitution and the formation of a new nation. In 1787, the United States adopted its constitution, which established a strong federal government with three branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. In 1791, the first 10 amendments, known as the Bill of Rights, were added to the Constitution, guaranteeing fundamental freedoms and rights for citizens. Expansion to the West. During the 19th century, the United States began a process of rapid territorial expansion. The Louisiana Purchase of 1803 doubled the size of the country, and throughout the following decades, the United States continued to acquire new territories, including Texas in 1845 and lands gained through the Mexican-American War of 1846 to 1848, which brought states like California and Nevada under American control. This westward expansion came at a great cost to the indigenous peoples, who were forcibly removed from their ancestral lands, often in brutal and violent ways, as part of the Indian removal policy. The Civil War and the abolition of slavery. One of the most dramatic and pivotal events in U.S. history was the Civil War, which occurred between 1861 and 1865. The primary cause of this conflict was slavery, which was deeply entrenched in the economy of the southern states, where enslaved labor supported agricultural production, particularly on cotton plantations. The northern states, by contrast, were generally opposed to slavery. The war ended in 1865 with the defeat of the South, the abolition of slavery through the 13th Amendment, and the beginning of Reconstruction, during which the federal government sought to rebuild the South and extend civil rights to freed African Americans. Industrialization and the Gilded Age. Following the Civil War, the United States experienced a period of rapid industrialization. By the late 19th century, the country had become a major industrial power, with significant advancements in railroads, factories, and technologies like the telegraph and telephone. This era also saw a massive influx of immigrants from Europe, who sought better opportunities in the growing American economy. However, the Industrial Revolution was not without its social costs. Labor conditions were often harsh, leading to the rise of labor unions and workers' rights movements. At the same time, wealth became highly concentrated in the hands of a few industrial magnates, giving rise to the term Gilded Age to describe the period of extreme economic inequality. The World Wars and the rise of superpower status. In the 20th century, the United States became a global superpower. After playing a crucial role in the defeat of Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan during World War II, the country emerged as a military, economic, and political leader on the world stage. The post-war period saw the establishment of the United States as a central player in the new international order, with the creation of institutions such as the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund. The Cold War and the conflicts in Asia. The end of World War II marked the beginning of the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, two superpowers vying for global influence. The Cold War led to numerous proxy wars, including the Korean War and the Vietnam War, as the two powers struggled to prevent the spread of each other's ideologies, capitalism versus communism. While the U.S. focused on containing communism, it also faced significant internal struggles, including the civil rights movement. African Americans, under leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., fought for equality and an end to racial segregation, achieving significant victories with civil rights laws in the 1960s. The modern era and challenges ahead. In the 21st century, the United States continues to face both internal and external challenges. Political divisions, economic competition, climate change, and military conflicts are just some of the issues that shape the country's contemporary landscape. However, the United States remains a major global player, with its economic, military, and cultural influence affecting events around the world. The history of the United States is a complex tapestry of triumph and tragedy, progress and setbacks. From the fight for independence to the ongoing quest for equality and justice, the story of the U.S. is one of continual reinvention, a narrative of freedom, struggle, innovation, and identity that continues to unfold.